pinned, which means we can hear.
Yeah, we can hear you. Hare Krishna.
Om Jnanatimirandhasya
Yes, Prabhu.
Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Kujantam Rama Rameti Madhuram Madhuraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakham Vande Valmiki Kokilam Manojabam Marutatulya Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtam Vatatmajam Vanarayutha Mukhyam Sri Ramadutam Shirasa Namami Apadam Apahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Sri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham Takshine Lakshmano Yasya Vame Cha Janakatmaja Purato Marutir Yasya Tam Vande Raghunandanam. All right. Today we're going to hear about the battle between Ramachandra and the three mighty warriors, Dushana, Trishiras, and Khara. Last week, the fight had begun, and Ramachandra, standing in the midst of the armies of demons being attacked from all directions, just began decimating one after the other at such speed, without retreating, without stepping back, nothing, and with such prowess that the demons were taken aback. They had very seriously underestimated this human being who they thought was some normal fellow causing some disturbance in Janasthan, that area. So now that all 14,000 of them have come and many of them have been decimated, we continue from chapter 26. Having seen this kind of havoc that Sri Ramachandra has created for the demons, Dushana steps forward and expresses to Khara that he would rather just take it upon himself and finish this upstart human being. So what Dushana did is commanded 5,000 Rakshasas who were exceptionally strong. They were so violent in their behavior that people would be scared to even be anywhere in the vicinity. Very, very difficult to approach because one will be scared just by their stance. And they had one quality that they never retreated from battle. Anivartata is the word used in Ramayana. They never come back. Once they go for battle, they never come back defeated. So these 5,000 demons began to assault Sri Ramachandra with all sorts of weapons, tridents, spears, lances, scimitars, swords, stones, maces. They're throwing at him, and at great speed and with great momentum. And Sri Ramachandra, standing right there, started shooting arrows. All he had was bow and arrow, primarily, because they're fighting from a distance from each other. And his arrows were meeting their targets so precisely that whatever they were throwing at him, he would destroy. And these heavy tree trunks were coming at high speeds at him, and with his arrows he would completely tear apart the trunks of the trees, the stones, the rocks, the huge boulders, the weapons coming from all directions. Then Ramachandra, according to Valmiki Muni, he went, or he aroused the next level of anger that is required to fight such a battle. Now, one might say, why is anger required? Just a side point is, one cannot fight a war without anger, without that sense of raja. Now, just because he invited anger does not mean he is uh, overcome by that anger. In fact, the very fact that he invited anger is an indication that he knows what dose of anger is required. In the conditioned state of life that we find ourselves in, when we open the door for anger, perhaps I should correct myself. We don't open the door for anger. Anger barges. Even if we close our doors to anger, anger can smash the doors, windows, patios, balcony, and enter and completely take over. It's like a fire that one doesn't know how to control. Not in the case of Sri Ramachandra. So he increased his level of anger because it required the next level uh, to fight these demons, and began finishing off the Rakshasas one after the other. Okay, so Dushana, um, then he said, well, why my own armies? I will fight Sri Ramachandra. And he took on and attacked Sri Ramachandra with arrows that were as strong as thunderbolts. Ramachandra became so upset that he had, the Dushana had increased his attack, that Ramachandra with his arrows split Dushana's bow and killed, within four arrows, killed all four horses. Then, with a crescent moon shaped arrow, cut off the head of Dushana's charioteer. And then, with three arrows, completely pierced Dushana's heart. And Dushana, with his charioteer dead, his horses killed, his chariot smashed, and his chest impaled by Ramachandra's arrows, picked up a huge club or mace that was covered with iron so that the impact is very strong. And he looked like a mountain peak. And this particular mace or club, we call it gada, was made with iron but had bands of gold and very sharp spikes on it, that if the enemy was hit with it, they would get completely crushed. And it was still there were specks of, or big blobs of flesh and fat from killing someone else previously. So he came running towards Ramachandra. So when he came, Ramachandra shot two arrows, and the arrows went with such speed and precision that they cut off the two arms of Dushana. And Valmiki describes that the arms, they were decorated with golden bangles and bracelets, and they fell on the ground. And the club also naturally fell off Dushana's severed hands. Yet, the description is that the way Dushana fell down with his arms cut down is like when a proud, arrogant elephant falls down when the two tusks are completely smashed. Uh, and when Dushana fell down on the ground like that, dead with vomiting blood, then all the um, great celestial beings who are gathered in the sky said, well done, sadhu, sadhu. They're very happy. So then, I'll let me insert it here because I had thought I'll keep it for the end. According to one commentary, uh, Dushana uh, represents a conglomeration of bad qualities together. And by cutting off his arms, in one sense, Ramachandra teaches us how to deal with bad qualities. Because hands were cut off, the tendency of bad qualities is they can have a grip on us. And by cutting off the arms, Ramachandra is showing that unless that grip is loosened, if we don't allow these bad qualities to embrace us, then we can be safe. Now, how do bad qualities embrace us? It's primarily by inviting them in. We invite bad qualities from our previous life. We come with some baggage, and those past activities or reactions to those are hiding as tiny tendencies. In Nectar of Devotion, it's called Kutam. With time and association and circumstances, that Kutam grows into becoming a bijam, is a seed. Right? Kutam is the tendency, it's in a subtle form. Bija is now the beginning of that bad quality in its, although seed-like form, but it's there in its gross form. And that bijam now starts to fructify. It starts to become phalam. Phalam means it is ready. And when the particular circumstance arises, the modes of nature, past tendencies, this thing waiting to manifest, shows up in our speech, in our activities, and it further enhances that bad quality even. So it becomes even a stronger, um, it takes even stronger root in us. So it's important that recognition of these bad qualities. And if we can't recognize, most of people might say, well, I don't recognize I have bad qualities. Then the movement in life is to acknowledge that I may not recognize them, but by scripture, by the words of Guru and the great uh, sages, we should understand, we should take it for granted that we are a repository of bad qualities. Now, it doesn't mean in a defeatist or pessimistic, oh, I can't do anything, I'm just a repository of bad qualities. Not in a pessimistic way, but in an actual acknowledging way. Yet, we are also, someone might say, well, if I'm a repository of bad qualities, then I have no hope. And the answer is that's a wrong way of acknowledging. The right way of acknowledging is I have or I am a repository of bad qualities. My subtle body may be filled with tendencies or vasanas from previous life of very bad qualities. And in this life, up until this point, I may have committed so many unknowing, perhaps knowing bad deeds by my speech, my behavior, my thoughts, whatever. And they have become stronger because if I take stock of how I have behaved and spoken in many, many circumstances of my life, it is evident for me. Yet, behind all of that, or trapped inside all of that, is this tiny but extremely powerful spark of Atma, which is a part and parcel of Krishna, which is also the repository of all good qualities. Divine qualities, actually, not just good, divine qualities. And the purpose of my life is to uncover those divine qualities. I have to work at it. to uncover those divine qualities. Now, uncovering is not a process of my own strength. Uncovering means I have to be able to mold my life in such a way that I can allow the grace of Guru and Krishna, Guru and Sri Ramachandra to flow in such that it can cut through the heavy tabernacle, heavy shell of bad qualities and touch my soul. Right now, I'm not even looking at Sri Ramachandra, I'm looking somewhere else. And I have to somehow, by sadhana bhakti, turn my or orient my consciousness towards Sita and Ramachandra, Radha and Krishna, or Lakshmi Narayana, whatever form that gives us the greatest inspiration. So one should be diligent, diligent about association, diligent about one's thoughts, one's speech, and obviously about one's action. So Dushana, Ramachandra is showing that you have to take on bad qualities head on. Don't wait for them to, one day they will go away. If we recognize that there is a bad quality, we take it head on. Head on meaning we intentionally cultivate the opposite of that bad quality. So in the meantime, the great demons who were followers of Dushana by the name Mahakalapa, Sthulaksha, and Pramathi rushed towards Ramachandra together. Not Mahakalapa, sorry, Mahakapala. Mahakapala, Kapala means forehead. Lord Shiva is glorified as Mahakapala because he has a very, very broad, handsome, and extremely good looking forehead. So is Ramachandra. That's one of the signs of good handsomeness. And Lord Shiva has a crescent moon that shines light on his forehead. Chandrasekhara. So Kapala, Mahakapala means he had this broad forehead, sign of power. And Sthulaksha, Aksha is eyes, Sthula means gross. We call this gross body Sthula Sharira, and the subtle body is called Sukshma Sharira. So Sthula Aksha means his eyes were so big that they were bulging out of their sockets like that. I don't know how to bulge them out of my sockets. And Pramathi means extremely, extremely stubborn. Arjuna says, Pramathi balavad drudham. Pramathi is maddened. Sorry, Pramathi is called maddened. So anything, he gets completely mad at the drop of a hat. And his anger is just too much to control for him. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, we hear the verse, Nunam pramatta kurute vikarma. Nunam means definitely. Pramatta, matta is mind, and pramatta means very, very severely agitated mind. Nunam pramatta kurute vikarma. Such an agitated mind forces a person to do vikarmas. And so these three together ran towards Ramachandra. Mahakapala lifted a big, broad trident, Trishula. Sthulaksha picked up a big spear, and Pramathi picked up an axe. And they ran to just destroy Ramachandra. When Ramachandra saw them coming, the verse is describing Valmiki that like Atithi, when you have guests that arrive without any notice, they're called Atithi. Tithi means defined day and time. Atithi means without your notice, they arrive. And when they arrive like that, we're supposed to receive them like they are Lakshmi and Narayana. Atithi Devo Bhava, according to Vedic hospitality. So Ramachandra received them like one would receive guests and give them or fulfill their needs. So this is used in a sarcastic way. So he invited them or received them and gave them what they needed. What they needed was that they had to be separated from their bodies. So Ramachandra, and the poetry is beautiful. So I'm not reading the Sanskrit verses, but you get the sweetness of the humor in it. This guy is called Mahakapala. So Ramachandra shot an arrow and severed the head from the body. So the Kapala uh, was separated. For Sthulaksha, Ramachandra shot such a fabulous arrow that the arrows pierced his eyes and the eyes were popped out of their sockets. And for Pramathi, Ramachandra struck an arrow right into his heart, and not one, just one after the other. Innumerable arrows were struck. And so all these three immediately fell on the ground dead. And the remaining 5,000 uh, followers were completely finished with exactly 5,000 arrows. Now, when we hear this kind of description, we must obviously understand that the reason I'm getting into this is the poetry is beautiful, the visual is fantastic. Valmiki is giving us a movie in our mind simply by his words. Something that is portrayed or given visually doesn't leave anything for imagination. But when it is written, that's why novels and books are extremely uh, helpful in developing the intelligence because you have to visualize them. Versus everything playing on the screen, you don't have to visualize, think about it. It's doing the thinking for you. So Valmiki is actually giving us a film, if you will, from his words, using poetry. Second, we have to appreciate Sri Ramachandra's uh, archery, that he's alone. And it's not like to kill 5,000 demons, he has to shoot 20,000 arrows with a 25% probability of killing the demons or meeting its target. No, 5,000 demons, exactly 5,000 arrows. Every arrow met its target perfectly. That is his greatness. Therefore, in many shlokas, Ramachandra is glorified as the best archer. So when all of these 5,000 were killed, Khara became very angry. The Dushana, his very good associate, was killed. So Khara began to run towards Ramachandra. And he had all these great generals with him. One's name was Shenagami, which means he's very tall. Another's name was Prithugreva. He had a very long and slender neck. Yagna Shatru. His name was Yagna Shatru, like a title, that wherever Yagya was performed, he would destroy it. Then other was Vihangama. Vihangama means one who is a bird. That's the name of a bird who flies in the air. So this demon could fly. Durjaya, very difficult to win in battle. And Karaviraksha, eyes that are of a particular shape of a certain flower. And Parusha, hard hearted. And Kalakamurka, Kalarmuka, sorry. Kalarmuka means who has a bow and arrow like Yamaraj has. Hemamali, a group of clouds. Mahamali, one who has a big garland. We can assume a garland of skulls, maybe. And Sarpasya, one whose face is like that of a snake. And Rudhirashana, one who loves to drink blood. Hey, what's your favorite beverage? Blood. All these persons started dashing towards Sri Ramachandra. Ramachandra, with arrows fitted to his bow, one by one, killed all of them. When I say one by one, let's not have a picture that one came, he was killed, next one came, he was killed. It's not like they had an appointment for COVID shots that they came one by one and they were given a shot. No. Ramachandra gave them a shot all together. So like this, hundreds and hundreds, one after the other, the Rakshasas were being killed. When 100 Rakshasas came together, 100 arrows finished them. Next batch of 1,000 ones plunged on Sri Ramachandra, 1,000 arrows killed all of them. And finally, the entire floor of the forest was like a river of blood. It was mixed with flesh of the Rakshasas, because when an arrow pierces someone's body, it tears flesh from the body. Similarly, Trishiras also had attacked. When Khara wanted to fight with Ramachandra, he was alone. Khara wanted to run. Trishiras told him, "Oh, hold on. When I am here, why should you go?" This is the uh, protocol in battle. That when a junior is present, the senior general doesn't run ahead. They send first, in an increasing order of power. So Trishiras said, Ramachandra's purpose here is to kill the demons. When I'm here, why should you go? Let me go. And Trishiras means he has three heads. So when he attacked Ramachandra, similarly, Ramachandra shot arrows to kill his horses, smash his chariot driver, the flag staff that was on his chariot, everything was completely broken to pieces. And with three arrows, the three heads were cut off and he fell down like a big, gigantic mountain on the ground. Then Khara attacked. Khara came in this very mighty chariot. And between the two of them, suddenly the war went into a whole different level altogether because Khara is the strongest. And Ramachandra and Khara fought so valiantly. In fact, it's described up until that point, we don't hear so much what happened to Ramachandra. But when Khara started fighting, there's a whole description that Ramachandra shot so many arrows, Khara threw this at him. Khara shot three arrows that hit Ramachandra in the forehead. And Ramachandra in turn hit Khara back, destroyed his chariot, cut down his flagstaff. Khara shot such powerful arrows that the bow Ramachandra was holding was broken completely. And at that time, Ramachandra quickly on the battlefield picked up a new bow. This is the bow that Agastya Muni had given. It's called the Vaishnava bow, or bow belonging to Lord Vishnu. He picked up the Vaishnava bow, strung it, got it ready, and shot arrows on Khara with such intensity that Khara fell dead on the ground. Even his arms were cut off. He came running, trying to swallow Ramachandra with his mouth. Ramachandra killed him. Now, what was Ramachandra's condition? His body was filled, every square inch of his body was filled with blood. He was, although Ramachandra is greenish like a grass blade, his body appeared bright red like a tree of, I think in India it's called gulmohar, a tree that has reddish, sometimes yellow also, but reddish flowers. And the flowers bloom to such an intensity that you can't see any of the green leaves. All you see is a red colored tree. Similarly, Ramachandra, you couldn't see his original dark color. It was all reddish with blood. That is how Ramachandra was also hurt or bleeding, I guess, from fighting this war. And one of the verses used is glorifying Ramachandra as Lakshmana's brother. Because typically Lakshmana is the firebrand, and Ramachandra is the one who always calms him down. Now, one may wonder why Lakshmana is a firebrand. Actually, I'm going to digress for a moment and glorify Lakshmana because he's one of my heroes. Because many times we hear that Lakshmana was hissing like a cobra. Lakshmana was so angry that he was ready to kill Dasharatha also. He said, I will wipe out any Kshatriya who stands between you and the throne of Ayodhya right now. Ramachandra, all you have to say is yes. Later in Kishkinda Kanda, when Sugriva was reveling in sensual pleasures, forgetting what he was supposed to do for Ramachandra, Ramachandra becomes a little bit angry or upset and tells Lakshmana, go to Sugriva and tell him that the path in which Vali went or Vali was sent, that path is still open for Sugriva also, which means I will kill him. It's a very nice way of saying it. Ramachandra is, in any circumstance, we don't hear Ramachandra ever uttering uh, unclean words. Even the warnings come very sweetly. So tell him that the path in which Vali was sent is also open for him. So Lakshmana said, why tell him? I'll just go finish him. And Lakshmana came with such anger that the entire Kishkinda was trembling. The ground was trembling because Lakshmana's anger is too much. When Tara had to subdue it a little bit. But the question is, why does Lakshmana get flared up so easily? That might be the concern that one may have. Well, Lakshmana is an angry young man. However, there is one episode with the Acharya's comment that Lakshmana, who's always ready. In fact, if you tell him, if Ramachandra, not you tell him, you and I tell him, he doesn't have to do anything. If Ramachandra would to just look in some direction, Lakshmana will be like, let me finish that fellow. Yet, when Samudra Dev did not come for 3 days and Ramachandra glared at the ocean and the ocean started to boil, in fact, Ramachandra, in one of the commentaries, it said, Ramachandra said, Lakshmana, get my bow and arrow. Immediately, I'll finish off this ocean. Lakshmana, who usually is like, even before he's told, get my bow and arrow, is like, do you want your bow and arrow? Such a Lakshmana did not bring the bow and arrow. He took his time. And the commentators describe that actually Lakshmi comes from the ocean, right? So in the churning of the milk ocean, Lakshmi came from that ocean. So Samudra is technically considered the father of Lakshmi Devi. So he is the father-in-law for Ramachandra. So when Ramachandra is angry and wants to punish, then Lakshmana cannot see another fellow devotee being hurt. So he doesn't bring Ramachandra's bow and arrow so easily. This is the soft butter-like heart of Lakshmana. Now, butter, when you put it in fire, can catch fire very quickly too. But Lakshmana is very, very soft-hearted when it comes to a fellow devotee. Now, of course, I'm going to get questions. Dasharatha was also a devotee. So let me see if I can answer it ahead of time. Always think of this. Lakshmana is such a surrendered soul. Anything that comes to him, he's never angered by it. Never. But even the slightest word or thought or action against Ramachandra, he will not keep quiet. And that is the greatest quality of a devotee. That upon themselves, they will tolerate anything. But when it comes to their worshipable deity, guru, or uh, personality of Godhead or devotees, there is zero tolerance. That is the uh, hallmark of a Vaishnava. Therefore, we see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although blasphemed by Ramachandra Puri, never said a word. But when Madhai hit Lord Nityananda, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who never carries a weapon, always melts the hearts of everyone, said, Chakra, Chakra, Sudarshan Chakra, come right now and finish these two. When Lord Nityananda had to say, no, 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 please forgive them. That is Lakshmana or Lord Nityananda or Balaram. So they can be easily angered, supposedly, but for a cause, not that they have an anger problem. They need to take anger management classes. So Trishira, after he was killed, according to Govindaraja Swami, he writes a prayer. He says, "Let me take shelter of Sri Ramachandra, who cut off the three heads of Trishira, which actually represent the three problems. Adhyatmika problems, meaning problems due to one's body and mind. Adhibhautika, uh, Adhibhautika actually, Adhibhautika because of other living beings, and Adidaivika because of higher order disturbances. They're all called kleshas, three kleshas. And this Ravana, who represents the mind technically, and that's where we're going to get to. We're going to change. Ultimately, we have to be able to conquer over the mind or false ego, or the identification that I am this body and I am meant to enjoy matter. So Ravana's outpost, this Janasthana, is where these three chiefs were ruling, Khara, Dushana, and Trishira, with 14,000 Rakshasas. So Dushana, by the name Dushana, represents blasphemy. So what happens is when a sadhaka or when any person has this urge or tendency to blaspheme, that urge has an effect. The effect is that it pollutes the mind and intelligence completely. And the pollution is recognized. We have to know what is the symptom. For any disease, there has to be a symptom. The symptom that blasphemy has polluted the mind and intelligence is that we only see the fault of someone else very, very easily. Oh, as soon as we see a fault in someone, that means we have that very special gift of Dushana's mercy in our life. Very easy to look at faults. In fact, sometimes the nature of envy in Sanskrit, free of envy means, actually, envy means ascribing fault to someone who may not actually have fault. Now, that doesn't mean the other side, which is dangerous, is to say, oh, I can't see any faults in anybody. Even if the person is blasphemous to the Lord or to the devotees, to say, no, no, there is no fault. Now, that is also dangerous. A Madhyama Adhikari knows how to make that distinction. And so if we were to discuss how is it possible, it's not how. There's no mechanics to it. Because a sadhaka, at least at a Madhyama Adhikari, only an Uttama Adhikari will say there is no fault. Only a Kanishta will say they only have faults. I can't see any good. It is the Madhyama Adhikari who sees both the good and bad together and helps the other person overcome their bad. That's the function of the Madhyama Adhikari. But to take a stance that, oh, I don't see bad in anyone, which also means that I don't see bad in myself. That is the problem. We don't know what to distinguish. We can't distinguish good from bad. We can't distinguish truth from falsity. So becoming a Madhyama Adhikari is the place where, or from the place where bhakti actually unfolds very strongly. Up until Kanishta, it's a struggle. In Madhyama also there is struggle, but the struggle is of a different kind and nature. So these three, we call them tapatraya, three kaleshas. They need to be very carefully, systematically, and diligently, consciously, deliberately overcome. And Khara, who represents false ego, because false ego is very, very obstinate, like an ass. So his name is Khara. False ego, because it is subtle, has the ability and dominance over intelligence and mind. Right? We hear in the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita that the hierarchy is the sense objects, the senses, mind, intelligence. And then he says, then is the soul, but there is that false ego filter which dominates the mind and intelligence. So, in all situations of life, this is something I've been studying for myself, and I am, I guess, happy or embarrassed, however, to report that false ego has pervaded to such a strong degree that the slightest of things, this thing, that thing, if it irks us, and how dare he, how dare she, how dare they, wow, is all coming from the strong I and my consciousness. And because of that false ego, even the ideas that come into my intelligence, even the desires that drive me forward, are all based on that false ego. And in that, somewhere, there might be a spark of a spiritual thought because of the association of someone else, saintly persons. Then, yeah, oh, that's an option I never thought of. Oh, that's a sweet thought of serving the deity, or considering what might be pleasing to Krishna. Oh, it comes because of the association of a devotee. And the idea is it should come by one's own sense of identity, that I am Krishna's or Sri Ramachandra's servant. So this false ego is the one that is very difficult to work out. It poses the maximum uh, defense against our journey to find that soul. I shouldn't say the journey to find and awaken ourselves. And therefore, you find Khara giving the most dominant fight to Sri Ramachandra. Now, when even Khara was killed, all the other demons scattered like anything. And with that, all the 14,000 Rakshasas were killed. There's one fellow who did not fight yet, but who was sitting there as a minister because he's the guy who's a analyst. Analysts don't fight battles; they only analyze data and feed it to the soldiers. This analyst, I'm calling him an analyst. His name is Akampana, and this Akampana will now go report to Ravana. So you see, killing of Kharadushna and Trishiras actually is a war cry. It's a war invitation to Ravana. And so by that, we'll pause here. Let's see if there are some questions or comments. If not on this, last 2 or 3 times I've gone more than an hour and not really given much of time for discussion. So if you have any questions from any of the previous sessions, I'm happy to see if I can address. So if you have any comments or realizations, anything from Sri Ramanavami has been your meditation, I would love to hear. Anything that Ramachandra has touched your heart, I would love to hear.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. This is Atulya Devidasi. So Prabhu, so question is, in overcoming these 3 demons, there is a strong, one way is to like focus on killing the demons, but on the other hand, the focus could be, like I'm talking more from Anartha perspective. The positive side is to develop that service mood that Lakshmana has for Lord Ramachandra. And then is it right to understand that the demons would be taken care of if we take shelter of that service mood? Like you did say that if there's a bad thought or bad feeling that's coming, we need to take action in curbing it down before it becomes a habit of, forming wrong habits and wrong anarthas in their heart.
If I understand your question properly, both should be there. To say that I'm only busy cultivating a service attitude is great, but it does not address the current issues or what has been there for all this while and is manifesting in our day-to-day interactions or view of ourselves or view of others. It's that humble mode of service like Lakshmana that throws light onto these demons that are there in our heart. Because right now, I shouldn't say right now as if for you, but right now in my heart, that's why today I'm wearing a black shirt because it represents the color of my heart for today. There is darkness. And in darkness, one cannot distinguish good from bad. One cannot distinguish divine from demoniac. One cannot distinguish spirit from matter. There has to be light, right? Krishna Surya Sama, Maya Haya Andhakar. So that light has to be invited. It's like opening the window. The sun is shining, but you have to open our window to let the light in. So this mood of service, like Lakshmana, like Hanuman, like everybody who's serving Sri Ramachandra, is our opening of the window. Now, when light falls onto something, we obviously have to address that which is undesirable. So if there is trash, we have to pick it up and throw it out. We can't say, well, I'm cleaning the house, so trash will automatically go out. Yes, it will not allow for trash to accumulate in the future, but if the trash is already there, that needs to be actually removed. So both are required. But the intention is to clean up. We don't become so trash conscious. We become cleanliness conscious, so trash will be removed. But there is the actual act of removing the trash.
Understood.
Right?
Then yes, Prabhu, go ahead.
Now, to take the sweeping example further, if I keep sweeping the floor because I want to make the floor clean, guess what happens? The trash begins to accumulate somewhere in some corner. So we have to take a dustpan, collect the trash, and technically throw it out. That's when it is clean. Otherwise, I'm sweeping the floor, no doubt. The floor is clean, but it's being collected somewhere. In Gundicha Marjana also, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his team were cleaning, but they were picking trash and throwing it out. They were not just cleaning. So both are included. The act of cleaning means removing unwanted stuff. Sorry, I'm just taking it further, but go ahead. You wanted to say something?
So it's very appropriate. Today is my cleaning day. In the house. Another thought came to me. It was so inspiring how you described, Lakshmana's mood for Lord Rama, very, very intense, and intense in the sense like pleasantly intense. So how I know I just mentioned that mood of service is what we can take from Lakshmana's example, but who is that person? Like we don't really relate directly to Lord Rama or Lord Krishna. So whom do we express our deep attachment like this for? Like
whoever inspires you the most. That is part of Rupa Goswami's teaching that Raganuga Bhakti can awaken when there is attachment to a Ragatmika. Someone who's very, very intensely related to or having a particular mood towards the Supreme Lord. So whoever that inspires you, that's the relationship to cultivate. Somebody is inspired by Nanda Maharaja's love, someone by Mother Yashoda, someone by the friends of Krishna, the gopis of Krishna, etc. Srimati Radharani and the conjugal persons, the servants, the friends, the parents, whoever.
Understood. This is great. Like, yeah, Krishna still feels distant, but we can relate to or I can personally relate to some of the exemplary devotees, and then that's where the cultivation of feelings and emotions and attachment should go.
Right. They become our role model that we very carefully try to mold our thinking, feeling, willing, and doing around that person's service to Krishna.
Mm. Thank you, Prabhu.
You're welcome.
Hare Krishna, Dhanapram.
Hare Krishna. Okay.
So, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. I thought of sharing a realization which I had on the occasion of Sri Ramanavami. So, this verse, Sakradyeva prapanno yas tavasmiti cha yachate abhayam sarvada tasmai dadami etad. Is it vratam or vratam, right? Vratam mama. So, you have beautifully explained this verse. Even the last Sri Ramanavami, before the Ramanavami occasion, you were requesting us to meditate on this verse. Even this year, before Sri Ramanavami came, like I was getting this verse from many sources, like from WhatsApp, Facebook. Many of my friends contact. They were just like that. I was getting particularly this verse, and so I thought, like why this verse alone coming to me? Like, and I started meditating on this verse, and I was in a very confused situation for the past few days, expecting some decision or something. So I was so confused, and I started like, why this verse is alone coming to me. So then I started meditating on this verse. I don't know if I took deep shelter, but to my capability, I tried my best. And on Sri Ramanavami day, that particular day, I was so peaceful. I felt like, things got unfolding by itself. So I felt so relieved and relaxed when when we really, at least give an attempt to take deep shelter, things gets unfold. Because I was taking too much on myself, that, that doership mentality. So somehow I thought like, this really helped. This verse really helped me. So thank you, Prabhu.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for sharing such a sweet verse. It's considered to be very similar. The words may be different, but the spirit is on dot exactly the same as Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshishyami Ma Suchaha. He says Ma Suchaha there, and he says Abhayam Dadami Etad Vratam Mama. Exactly the same verse, same thing, just words are used different because they're different personalities in the context of being Ramachandra and Lord Shri Krishna.
Because initially my thought was like, the decision what I was expecting should be in my favor, because that was my thought. Once I started meditating this verse, then I thought like, no, okay, I'm not the controller. If I start at least give an attempt to take shelter, slowly things, my perspective changed. The situation.
Nobody prays. Let the decision be against my favor.
Yeah.
Like the prayer always is this way or that way. I have you as my Lord, and that is what I'm actually wanting more than this decision or that decision. Tava asmi iti yachate. You are mine. Everything else the outcome may be mine or not mine. This thing can be mine or not mine. That possession can be mine or not mine. But you are mine. And technically it means I am yours.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm getting some text questions. If someone wants to ask, I'll defer the text to a little later. Anyone wants to ask?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
You're saying that if we work on removing, if we work on our faults, then they don't grow. Like you're explaining the bijam and the kutam. So if we work on some anartha which is in the bijam state, then it doesn't fructify. Is that a correct understanding?
Well, that's not what I said. What I said is the stuff from the past slowly develops from Kutam to Bijam to Phalam, etc. And unless we are Krishna conscious or Sri Rama conscious, it's very difficult to recognize where these anarthas are and what stages they're in. So to back to Atulya's point, our focus is on developing our bhakti. And part of that development is also recognizing the weed from the actual plant, the bhakti creeper. Otherwise, they look the same to me. So I have to also carefully pull out the weeds, because as I am pouring water on the ground and allowing my creeper to grow, bhakti creeper, because I'm watering, I will also find weeds growing, and there I have to pull out the weeds. Now, we may not be able to, some people can see the slightest movement of consciousness that, oh, where did that tendency even come from at the Bijam seed? Many people may not be able to. It has to become at least phalam or manifest as prarabdha. That's when it's visible. Oh, I had that. I never realized that. Does that make sense? Did I answer, or did I miss the target?
So my question is, if I work on my anarthas, they don't grow from the bijam to kutam. Is that a correct understanding or no?
I don't know.
Okay.
Can we recognize them at Bijam stage is my answer.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yet, by the process of bhakti, even if they don't manifest, they may be killed or destroyed, which is why process of bhakti is that it destroys things, even in the kutam stage. But there are some things right now which we may not recognize. And it by the intensity, tivra bhakti, either it's destroyed or it will show up as a way of Krishna indicating, pay some attention there.
So then at my level, I can just work on those that I see or Krishna allows me to see.
Yeah, I don't know what is my level. For me, my level, your level may be way up there.
No.
Whatever, however Krishna manifests, Tira. However, it's not a formula. However Krishna manifests your attention towards a particular unwanted thing, do what it takes to get rid of it. That's the principle. Whether you recognize it as Bijam stage, Kutam stage, Phalam, doesn't matter. If you recognize something, work at it.
Okay.
Don't look at it and say, oh no, this has already become Phalam. Next time I will recognize it Bijam. Don't overanalyze it. I'm speaking in the spirit of nectar of devotion. So what we have learned is applicable in the way Ramayana is developing. That's all I did. I just wanted a nectar of devotion perspective on it as a template. But the point is, if you recognize something that's undesirable, work at it. Not work at it, but let's work at it.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Devidasi. Prabhuji, I heard a lecture about 3 or 4 years ago on Ram Navami, and the topic was beauty of Lord Sri Ramchandra. And
Duty?
Beauty.
Duty. Okay.
No, not duty, beauty. Sundarta.
Beauty.
So in that, one of the instances which was told was that when Khara, Dushan and Trishra came to fought with Lord Ramchandra along with their armies, so it was for the first time for these demons that they were looking at someone so beautiful. So Khara at once told his army or his people, we won't kill this person, we'll keep him in our museum. He's such a beautiful person. But then the fighting started, and then they were like, no, ma, no, ma. It was this. I'm not sure from which commentary it was, or whatever it was. Okay.
Sounds wonderful, but I don't know where it is from.
Okay, and my second question was, is it true that when Lord Ramchandra asked Lakshmana to drop Sita, my mother Sita, to to forest, then Lakshmana at once said, "Ki I am going to kill you." I mean, how can you say like that? Why are you leaving Mother Sita? Okay, this also I heard in a lecture.
Lakshmana can never say like that. Lakshmana pleaded and cried that, please, you have put me in such a difficult situation where I cannot say no to your order and I cannot say yes to your order either. I cannot take Sita Devi. She's pregnant. And I cannot say yes, I cannot say no. I'm in a very, very bad state. And the entire chariot ride, Lakshmana was quiet, crying piteously. And Sita Devi asked him, why are you crying? What's going on? And he can't speak, he can't say anything. Finally, when he takes her, I mean, he's saying it is also difficult. When he takes her very close to Valmiki's ashram, she gets down and says, oh, so such a forest is so beautiful. He turns around and he's ready to leave and he tells her, this is where I will leave you and I have to go back. And she's shocked. Anyway, this is not the time for churning that right now I'm not ready for it, but never that I will kill you. I mean, Lakshmana can never utter something like that. I have not heard. If anyone else has heard, I'd be curious to know, but my reading of Valmiki Ramayana doesn't give me that.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, let me take some text questions. How do we understand that 5,000 arrows came and hit 5,000 warriors at the same time? Is it he shot one arrow and that multiplied 5,000, or he shot 5,000 one after the other in a very short time? However you're inspired, doesn't matter. Let Ramachandra reveal, because it is achintya. It is achintya whether one multiplied as 5,000 or all 5,000 were shot one after the other with such speed as if they're all together, because either of them might be correct. He has divine weapons. He's also a divine personality. He's also the best archer. So regardless, what is fantastic is 5,000 arrows met their 5,000 targets and killed the demons. That is his greatness as an archer. So either way. Next one. I don't know if this was covered already or not. Often when I get annoyed with someone, I notice that it's because I'm annoyed with that same bad thing that I see in myself. Wow, it's a great realization. But I don't have the courage to face those problems in myself. When one, in general, when the finger is that side, and it's pointing at someone else's, by nature means I don't have the courage to look within. And even if I see something, I, rather than address it here, I address it there. That's just human nature or tendency. But if one recognizes here, it doesn't mean because I recognize it here that I don't recognize it there either. It's a delicate thing. So it depends on your service, your relationship, and the call at that particular moment of time. But recognizing it here does not mean it's not addressed there also. You address it here and you address it there as well. And if the courage is not there, then that is something to look into and ask yourself. One of the ways is to ask why there is no courage. What will happen if you addressed it? Or what might be the obstacles to address it? So it might give you more insight. If you ask Super Soul, please indicate what are some blocks for me to that I don't feel the courage to address it. It will tell you because that will happen. This is what people might think of you. That's what people might perceive you this way, that way, this way, and that's what keeps us away from addressing it. Next question, Hare Krishna. I have joined just now. An off-topic question. Which or what verses would you recommend for age 7 to 9 children to contemplate on? From this section or the entire Ramayana? Out of 24,000 verses, it doesn't matter which verse you pick.
No, Prabhu, it doesn't matter. Just maybe it could be from the beginning as well, but something for that age group to like associate with, and they can relate with, and they can learn something from that. That's what my motivation was.
Yeah, we can learn from literally. That's first is a glorification of Ramayana. Ekaikam aksharam pumsam mahapataka nashanam. Ekaika aksharam. Every syllable has that potency. Whichever verse they learn is irrelevant. But particularly if you want a verse or a set of verses, all that we have covered so far, first chapter, very first verse, second, third, fourth, fifth, in fact, any verse from chapter 1, where Valmiki and Narada Muni are discussing the entire Ramayana in a Sankshipta manner, is great to learn. And there are many other verses as well.
Okay.
I mean, right now I can't list from 24,000, but I would
Yes,
begin
sir.
at the very first chapter. The first 90 verses of whatever the chapter are fantastic. Fantastic, actually.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Okay, next question. An Ashtanga yogi works on attaining higher stages by his own endeavor. Okay. Similarly, sometimes we hear that as devotees, we individuals should work on our anarthas. How is this different from a yogi's endeavor? Some say just depend on Krishna, he will remove anarthas. On the other hand, if we were to work at the anarthas, we hear from the pastimes as today, Krishna or Rama killed the demons who represent the anarthas. Some places we hear Guru removes the anarthas. How can we understand all these statements? Nice question, Prabhu. There is no individual. So let me start here. The very basis of the response to this question is Daivihi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. That an individual cannot remove all of one's obstacles put on by Maya on one's own. One can, so that's first statement. And then he says, Ma meva ye prapadyante Maya metam tarantite. The one who takes shelter of me. Now, the question poses, am I supposed to work at my anarthas? Or will Guru or Krishna or Ramachandra remove the anarthas? And when we pose the question, me or them, then we already assume that somehow it's only one of the parties. But actually, it is both. Krishna or Ramachandra's job is to shine light on whatever anarthas might be there. My job is to have a sankalpa to get rid of that anartha. And that sankalpa then must be demonstrated by the intent and behavior and the endeavor to not be overcome by that anartha. And at that time, the Supreme Lord will remove that anartha. So both parties have to participate. It's not just, I want my anarthas to go away. Ramachandra says, well, today, like Atulya said, today is my cleaning day. It's not like that. Both have to. I have to express my very strong determination. I call that Dridha Vrata. I have to express, I have to demonstrate to the Lord. Just saying is not enough. I have to demonstrate it. I have to demonstrate that I want to be free of these anarthas. And what's the demonstration? In life circumstances, I try very, very hard. I show Krishna, I really won't want this anartha to play out in this circumstance. Can you help me? That's when he intervenes. Otherwise, he will say, you can learn on your own. I already showed the light to you. Now, a yogi, on the other hand, thinks of it as one's own endeavor. So the common example we give, Prabhu, is if we are in a deep, dark well, andhakupam, someone wants to pull us out of the well, they throw a rope, right? Now, the question is, if they throw a rope, can we come out of the well? And the answer is no. Even if they throw a rope, unless we hold on to the rope, they cannot pull us out. If I hold on to the rope and they don't pull us out, I cannot come out. So both actions are required. I need to hold on, they need to pull. That's how I will come out. Okay, I hope that addresses your question, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Just Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble. Thank you very much for narrating the wonderful war pastime of Lord Ramchandra. So just a quick question that do these Rakshasas or the demons have their spiritual positions in Ayodhya, Dham or Ramalila in in spiritual world?
I don't know.
Okay, because I was just contemplating this Ravana is in Jay or Ravana and his brother Ajay and Vijay in past lives. So just like these demons might have some spiritual connection in with this. And I'm just contemplating that.
Manne avyo nathi.
Okay. Yeah. Just my contemplation from today's class was that it's just like a pre-finale war. Just like Ramchandra is just pulling his muscles just to fight with Ravana. It's like a final war, or just fighting with his demons today. I mean, in this class.
He's instigating Ravana. That's how it's just going to happen.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. Final, anything?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, may I ask one more?
Yes. Sure.
So the Sri Nama Ashtakam, just that is you mentioned about written by Murari Gupta. So
Ramashtakam.
Ramashtakam, yes.
Right.
So it says in KK Songs that it was that website KK Songs lyrics. It says that it was chanted by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also. But I think what I read was that it was sung by Murari Gupta. So do you know the context? Who wrote, who sang?
No, I mean, if Murari Gupta, song is generally ascribed to Murari Gupta, Prabhu, but it should not stop Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from reciting it. I mean, he cannot say, oh, you already sang it, so I'm not going to sing it.
Mm-hmm.
While going in the forest of Jharikanda, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was singing, no, Krishna Keshava Pahimam, Rama Raghava Rakshamam. So whether he composed and he repeated, or generally it is ascribed to Murari Gupta Prabhu. I don't know beyond that.
Okay, so it's Murari Gupta Prabhu who wrote it. And then, yeah, it could have been later sung by Chaitanya.
Right. In that Ramashtakam, one of my favorite verses is Sita Devi is holding 1,000-petal lotus, and there are 5 additional petals because her fingers are like delicate, like lotus petals. So there are 1,005 petals that you can see, he says.
Beautiful.
All right. Thank you very, very much. Until we meet again, we offer prayers to Sri Ramachandra that the 14,000 demons headed by Khara Trishras are causing havoc in Janasthan here, and that he may shoot some fascinating arrows all at one time, or one multiplying at 5,000. However, that he help us clear the forest of the heart from these darkness causing demons, so that we can be free and serve him and Sita Devi and Lakshmana and Hanuman and all the monkeys and bears with a happy heart. Srila